Hey everyone, it's Gigat. Have some coffee with me. Today is Sunday. Sorry about the hair. I walked in the rain. It's kind of pouring out. It's all gross. There's absolutely nobody here except for me, um, which that is typical on a Sunday morning. And yeah, I'm drinking coffee to warm up a little bit. I have close to want to say about an hour um, to dawdle around. I think I'm going to go after this log. I'm going to and go inside and warm up and probably dry off. Like my whole outfit is drenched. Hi, if you are new here, I'm KCat. I was a survivor of a narcissistic relationship that I walked away from in 2020. So, this is what my life is like. And if you have followed my channel, you know that I've I don't necessarily talk about it, but I was adopted. Um, 33 years ago, as of this year, I was adopted. So, bless my mom's heart. She passed away in 2017, peacefully in her sleep, but she was the reason that I got a second chance at life. Um, my first second chance. The second time, the second time that I got a second chance was on my own accord after leaving my ex. So, yeah, ex- it is exciting if I can ever talk. Um, yeah, 33 years of me being adopted. I was adopted because of child abuse and child neglect. Now, I know what you're thinking. Do you see any of your parents? My biological dad, even though he wasn't a part of the accusations, back then I was living in Texas with my parents, and it was my mom and my stepdad who did the dirty deeds and everything. But my biological dad didn't do anything, and instead of just being harsh on the perpetrators who actually did it, the judge um, couldn't differentiate who I was actually talking about. So, um, and I was, to be blatantly honest, I was only 6 years old when I was put in to foster care and to testify against my own parents. Like, that's a lot of pressure. That was a lot of pressure on me. So when they said, "Hey, who hurt you?" and I said, "My daddy," of course, they're not going to look at the stepdad. They're going to look at your biological, you know, who is biologically yours. And um, before they could determine that my biological dad had nothing to do with it, it was already too late. He had his rights stripped. Um, they stripped him of all of his rights as well, um, along with my mom and along with my biological mom and my stepdad. Now, when I say my mom passed away in 2017, I mean my adopted mom. I don't call her my adopted mom because, to tell you the truth, for a good chunk of like 20 to 30 years, actually, to tell you the truth, like 33 years, you know, she's the only person that I know was my mom. I only have one picture of my biological mom, and that was my baby picture. I used to have a lot more, but life and moving, and I moved around a lot, um, from place to place until I finally settled down here in Pennsylvania. So yeah, um, so I give my adopted mom credit. Was I the most was I a good kid? For the most part, but I also had my rebellious streak um in hand. Now, technically, I was the anniversary of my adoption was in April, but April was a big last month was a big month for me. I was actually doing a lot more work. I and it just someone had asked me yesterday on my day off how long I had been adopted. I had to look it up, and sure enough, April 19th of 1991, I was actually adopted. um, so yeah, the 19th of April would have been my um, adoption anniversary. So better late than never, right? So um, yeah. So today I am in remembrance of my adoption day. So I'm actually pretty happy. Like if it wasn't for my adopted mom taking care of me and showing me what it was like to be a girl, I was more so a tomboy, and I think my mom knew that. Because as I got older, she would try to put me in dresses, and I'm like, no, no. But she was the first person that I would come to, uh, that I would run to if I needed help. My mom was very strict, but she only wanted the best for me. And I think the reason why she was strict in her eyes was because she didn't want me to be like my biological mom. Like, she wanted me to do better and everything. It was a rough start. Like when I, like like I said, I was adopted. I was in foster care by the age of 6. By and I was very fortunate to be in only 2 foster homes. The first foster home was I don't even remember. I think it was a big ass family of like 5 or 6. I don't necessarily remember why I got taken out of their home. I think it was more of they were a sketchy family, and I think that's where let's see. Oh, that's where I found out that I had Bell's palsy. That's right. That's right. I had chicken pox when I went into the first foster care, and it was like roughly like late 80s, early 90s. You know, this was the start of the 90s, and stuff like that. So at that time, uh, the family had no idea how to treat chicken pox. Like it was unheard of in the house, uh, in in the foster house. So because I was in foster care and because I was so little, um, yeah, nobody knew how to take care um, of the chicken pox, and it was mistreated. And by the time anyone realized that my eyeball is drooping, um, by the time um, they found out that it was chickenpox and stuff like that, I had already had a fever. of like 105. And by that time, all of my organs were trying to shut down. Um, and I inadvertently had a stroke while I did it. So, um, imagine being like a 5, 6 year old girl being rushed to the hospital because the left side of your face is droopy and your eye is watering. Yeah, it was scary shit. So I do remember some of it. I do remember being in the hospital, having an eye patch on. Um, I don't necessarily remember who all was around me. I know that the room was packed, and I know uh, because I have residual feeling of that moment. Um, Obviously, they got my temp to go down. I'm still alive. I still remember wearing an eye patch to relieve some of the um, swelling and some of the um, to prevent any more dust and stuff like that. Um, yeah. So the first foster care people were very short lived. I don't remember a lot about them. I know that they had a lot of family members, and I do remember that they were there when I found out that I had Bell's palsy. Um, at the time, I didn't understand it. It was a lot of big words for me. It's basically, um, it's usually what happens to stroke victims. Um, Half of your face um, droops and everything, and it's different. So, um, but I think shortly after um, I found out that, and I think the state found out about the Bell's palsy. I think I don't remember. Like I said, I don't remember much about the first foster parents that I had. I know the second stuck because the second house that I went to, or the second family that I went to, I met my mom, my new mom. And it's funny because my mom is named Kathleen and I am named Kathy. Well, that's my government name. And um, my mom was 40 when I met her. And when I met her, she had a year under her belt for being a foster parent. I was her first foster kid. Um, and that's true. I was her first foster child. She was a single mom, never married. She was engaged, I think, 2 or 3 times, but nothing really stuck. Um, yeah, um, I used to call uh, my first house with her. I used to call it the Mermaid House because it had like really big steeples on it. The the roof of her house looked like Cinderella's castle half the time. It had really steep arches, really steep steeples. Um, yeah, it just looked like a beautiful castle in Texas and stuff like that. I remember being in the back of my child advocate's car, and I remember my caseworker, Myra, that was her name. I remember uh, she pulled up into the driveway and she's like, "This is going to be your new home." And I'm like, "What's my new home?" And we get out of the car, and I do remember this because it will forever be ingrained in my mind. The first house, the first house after um, being taken away from my original family, this house was like my saving grace. Um, Sorry, something startled me. uh, I thought somebody was here, but no. Um, but this house was like, it looked like a princess could have resided there, and I felt really awesome. And I remember what my mom wore. My mom, she wore power suits. She wore tailored suits, you know, nice dress shirt, nice blouse, nice blazer, nice flowy pants, and heels. And it had to be comfortable heels. This was no like stilettos or anything like that. It was, she was a businesswoman. So she dressed appropriately. And I remember she dressed in a yellow pantsuit when we first met. I had all of my gear, I had all of my paperwork. I looked at my mom. Well, at that time, she was my foster mom. I said hi. Um, I remember getting ushered in, sitting down, and all of that stuff. And little did she know she was going to fall in love with me. Um, I It was rough. I do remember it was rough the first like year of being with her. If not the first couple of months. Um and not all of it was rainbows and butterflies. I mean, the I could probably tell you stories about how I slept walk the first couple of months that I lived there. I had night terrors at night. I would scream in the middle of the night. My mom would have to come in and rock me to sleep or sleep next to me until I literally kicked her out of bed. um, yeah, I had night terrors. I slept walk. I didn't necessarily pee the bed or anything. I think I did that once, and I felt so guilty I never did that again. But I was, like I said, by the time that I met my mom, my adopted mom, I was 6 going on 7. And she did everything. I had to learn how to talk right because I would use the word ain't when it wasn't even in the dictionary. Um, I didn't know shit at all. Like, what everybody was doing, like all this stuff that everybody knew about when they were like 6 or 7, I had no clue. Like, that's how much of living under a rock and neglected I was from my original family. So I give this mom credit. Bless her heart, but she did an awesome job. That I'm going to cry. Um, yeah, most of my thoughts about my mom, um, especially my adopted mom, are very happy because I think she wanted me to um, do, yeah, she wanted that for me. Um, yeah, she was there for me when I had to testify not only against my stepdad who did the abuse, but my mom who allowed it. my adopted mom or my biological mom who allowed the abuse. That was fun. I don't necessarily remember all that was said on the trial because there were two different trials, one for him and one for my biological mom. I do, because I was only 7 years old, I have every now and then I will have like an image of like a courtroom if I really think about it, when I'm explaining to people what actually happened. I will, I remember sitting on her lap on the witness stand. And yeah, um, that's about it. Like, um, if I wanted to say thank you to anybody who had helped me um, be adopted, most of the legal team that were on my team passed away. My child advocate, Myra, that I talked about earlier, the one that introduced me to my mom, she passed away, God, like 10 years ago from suggestion, from like cancer or something like that. The judge um, who gave my mom permission to be my mom passed away. Like everybody on the case either retired or passed away. So, I mean, it's been 33 years. So, yeah. So, I'm very happy right now. Like, yeah, I didn't know that I was going to spend 20 minutes talking about me being adopted, but I hope you like it. Um, yeah, so that is that's the backstory of me. um, yeah, so um, if it wasn't for my adopted mom, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. And every day I make her a little bit more proud um, for what I'm doing. So, but yeah, 33 years of adoption looks really good on me. And it just gets better. Um, that's why I tell people I would love to adopt because I would love to adopt because my mom did me a favor and gave me life, gave me a second chance. So hopefully in the future, I get to do the same thing to some other child. And I can't wait. So, with that, I'm going to get off of here so I can bawl my eyes out while I open the store. But I hope you have a good day and I hope you um really like this video. If you do, please like, subscribe, share, do whatever. You know the drill. I hope you have a good day. I'll see you in the next video.